Hello, so a while ago on live streams I discussed with Mike, that's Weapon Collector, and Richard Weaponsmith, or Richard Bowman, whichever name he's going by at the moment. Would motocross armour be any good as like riot armour? Because this is built in a very similar way to the actual proper surplus French riot armour I have. So obviously this is designed that if you fall off a motorcycle it doesn't break your bones. And the idea being is that it's kind of like a spandexy sort of undergarment, and then you've got basically hard bits of plastic which I guess are designed to crack on purpose if they're hit, with enough force. So kind of as disposable riot armour, because it looks pretty similar to the real thing. Would this be any good? Now annoyingly today I don't have anybody to help me test this. So I've got the big bill hook here, and what I'm going to do is give it some wax first with the blunt end. And again, this won't work as well as it should with nobody inside the armour. We're going to see if anything cracks from the impact of just me hitting it, which I doubt with, nothing on there. Then I want to test its stab efficiency, so I'm going to probably aim for just sort of the heart area there or whatever, because obviously the bill hook will easily go through this material. But what I want to see is, with one of these sort of panels, will that stop a blade with a bit of force? And again, if you're wearing it, there's more resistance, so it'll actually more likely go through it. So I imagine you'd have to use this combined with sort of a police stab and bullet resistant vest for maximum efficiency as a protective thing. But it was just more because this is light, overweight kind of body armour that you can buy quite cheaply. Would this be good if you had to actually use it in some sort of horrible situation where, you needed improvised riot armour? Because again, actual riot helmets and military helmets with riot visors, you can find a surplus, but riot armour is much harder to find, so let's give it a quick go. Right, so I need to be careful here, because obviously the bladed end of the bill hook is near where the camera on my shoulder is, but let's just give this a quick go. So yeah, as I suspected, no obvious cracking there. There's a bit of an indent it's caused, but that's what you'd want. So what I'm going to do now is, is it pushed the, that's annoying, it's done that, okay. But as you can hopefully see, that's caused an indent a bit there where the bill hook handle has hit it. But what I'm going to do now is swap this over so you can see the blade end, and we'll see if that same bit of panelling, if I can line the hit up right, goes through it or cracks it or whatever. Right, as you can see, I've got this mounted on the bladed end of the bill hook now, so what we want to do is try and line it up in that sort of area. Oh, that's interesting. That hasn't gone through as much as I thought it would. I've actually speared it in a position, look, with the sort of panelling not where I wanted it, but let's try again on the doormat and see. So you can see where it's caused a cut there, look, but yeah, that's sort of interesting. So let me just turn that up a bit more so you can hopefully see over the bill hook. And let's see if I can, again, yeah, the problem with using this, it works better than I thought it would, but the problem with using this like protective armour is that the blades tend to slide off and then find a weak point. So they sort of do that. So if you stab for this section, you'd hit it with a lot of force, it would dissipate some of the force, but then it would slide and then penetrate something like that, the soft underbelly. So yeah, you definitely need to use this with a stab resistant vest underneath it, but I'm actually quite surprised of that. Like I said, this isn't designed, I think like bike helmets, these are designed that if you have a proper fall on them, you replace it straight away. But yes, as was discussed, these would make a very good cheap alternative to riot armour if used in conjunction with a stab and sort of bullet resistant vest underneath, or a plate carrier or whatever. So they deal with the actual blades and bullets if those are potentially launched at you, and this is actually for the blunt force trauma sort of impacts. So yeah, that's surprisingly good. As I said, what it does do well is it stops the blade actually hitting square on with these ridges, a bit like an impact. So while the blade will then slide and find a weak point every time, because that's just how sort of pole arms and things like that work, as a bit of riot protective armour, yes, I think this would work absolutely fine as long as it was used in conjunction with, the weapon sort of armours designed for more serious deadly threats that, you know, some people would use against you, whether you were a policeman or, you know, somebody having to wear this for whatever reason in a defence scenario. But yeah, these sort of Chinese cheap motocross armour sets seem surprisingly good at actually, you know, absorbing blunt force trauma, which is what they're designed for, you know.